Alright guys, welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to share with you how the middle class is getting the middle finger. I'm going to share with you the 4 predictions I have for the near future and the 2 things you can do about it. So, just to give you, I was a little hesitant to make this video, to be honest with you, because I'm not an economist, I'm not a political analyst, I'm not an expert in either of those, and this is not designed to be a political post, by the way. My name is Gasper Rochelle, I'm an insurance agent, but I wanted to give you a quick story about how I got into the industry. So back in 2008, after Obama got elected, I was watching one of those 24 hours news channels, and they were talking about all the things that were going on in the world, as far as the banks had just collapsed, the mortgage industry collapsed, all these different industries that just collapsed, and they were talking about the industries to watch, which ones are going to go up the fastest. And I remember hearing that saying that, and they were talking about George W. Bush. And they were talking about how the oil prices went up when he became the president. And they were saying how if the president was a baker before he became president, the price of bread is going to go up. So I looked at Obama and I was like, okay, so what's going to go up fastest? Is it going to be housing? And I was like, I didn't really think so. I mean, even at a really fast housing rise, 8% is substantial, but it's probably going to go up at an incremental rate. So I decided to get into insurance, supplemental insurance to be specific, and it was just really based on that show and just some preliminary research I did for myself. But like I said, I was hesitant to make this video because I didn't want it to be a political post, but I started reading Principles of Navigating Big Debt Crisis by Ray Dalio. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. I'll leave a link in this video so you can download the PDF for free. But what he's talking about is just all the things that have happened in big debt, and it's actually like a macroeconomics book told in a story format. So if you're not very good at macroeconomics like most people, it's still a really good read. I highly recommend it. But I started looking to see what was going on in our world compared to what was going on in the historical sense. And I'm only about halfway through, to be honest with you, but I started looking at I started seeing a lot of red flags. First of all, and just to give a quick backstory, I actually thought of this video months and months ago. I thought of the name of the title, but it was more about automation and AI, and they were talking about how it was going to ruin the world and all these scary. I mean, it was right after Elon Musk had thrown out this big red flag of AI, and I remember thinking no, this is what they said 100 years ago when machines were replacing farm workers and stuff like that. So I was gonna tell people just to really embrace AI and automation, and that was the original context of it. And what it was based on was how profits of companies were at an all-time high, and employment was starting to go down. And so I kind of, I was a little leery, but then all of a sudden, right after that, that's when companies started giving out bonuses to employees. That's when Amazon started giving out raises, and all these things started happening. I was like, so maybe I'm wrong. I mean, maybe there's some good coming out of this, because typically when something goes up, it must come down, But if you look at right now, all the stock markets are at all-time high. This is the longest bear market we've ever had. Profits are an all-time high. Unemployment's at its all-time, well, not all-time low, but a low it's been a long time. What could possibly go wrong? Well, the thing that could go wrong is debt. That is what's going on right now. Not only our national debt. Right now we have a $2 trillion national debt. We're only taking about $3 trillion in taxes from the country. But the thing we don't really put into consideration is future debts. Now, what I mean by future debts are programs like Social Security, veteran benefits, and then you want to get into all the government stuff. But we're not going to get into that here. But also another thing that's going on right now is this week there was a 4.5% drop in the Dow, and it's escaping me right now. But not only that, but there was a trade deficit of 1.47%. I think it was a drop of 1.74%, or I don't remember if it was we're down to 1.74. But anyways, I just feel that the current government, and like I said, this is not an anti-Trump post. This is not a post. This is not a pro-Trump post. But I just feel that this whole America First concept is a horrible marketing strategy. I mean, would you walk into a Walmart that said Walmart first? Would you shop into Amazon if it said Amazon first? Like, no, of course not. And that's what countries are going to choose to do. Instead of doing business with America, they're going to go to other countries. Now, you have to fully understand that most big companies are international companies now. So even if they lose business here in America, they can, if they have to close a plant in Michigan, they can move to Mexico, which is what's going on. And or if they close a farm in Indiana, like they can open up a farm in Indonesia. So this is not about America having a high priority anymore. Like, these are international companies that they just look at individuals and locations as commodities that can easily be substituted. So the America First principle, I think, is a horrible idea. And just so you know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I love hearing conspiracy theories, but I try not to be one myself. But I firmly believe Trump was put into place to I wouldn't say bankrupt the country, but cause I think that'd be really hard to do, but maybe destabilize it. And I'll kind of go into some points a little bit later. But first, I want to take a look at what's going on this week also. Last month, there was more bankruptcies with farmers than have happened in the previous 4 years. So this is very similar to what's happened during the Great Depression. Now, during the Great Depression, if you remember before that, it was the Roaring 20s, and I don't think we experienced the Roaring 2000 and teens, but it's as good as it's gonna get, unfortunately. I think that we're gonna about to go into another recession. I hope it's not worse than the Great Recession, but the things he's doing right now, the trade wars, are a horrible idea. I know the G20 summit's going on right now, and honestly, I didn't keep track of what was going on. I know China have agreed to a 90-day hiatus, and I know that Canada and U.S. just signed something. Like I said, I'm not a financial expert. I'm not a political expert, but the trade wars are horrible. It's similar to what was going on during the Great Depression. Also, the immigration crackdowns. Immigration is something that is countries just kind of look the other way, because honestly, most countries, most first world countries, really just profit off of immigration. And honestly, this was how America started. I mean, America, from its initial start, was a pro-immigration country. They knew that's how they could get a booming. You need more workers, really, for industries to work, and so immigration was the fastest way to get that going, and that's what America thrived on. But anytime there's a recession or a depression, they start cracking down on immigration, and all they're trying to do is get the people to fight so they don't blame the government. It's very simple. Unfortunately, some people don't see through the smoke. But the one thing that book talks about, the one by Ray Dalio, is the big domino. I don't know what the big domino is going to be, but after this week, I think it's going to be the trade wars. I think Trump is going to do one more catastrophic thing. It could be a couple little small things, I don't know, but I think it's going to be the trade deficit. When I originally started making notes for this video, I actually thought it was going to be student loans, and I'll get into kind of my projections and my predictions of what the future is going to be, but I thought it was going to be student loans. I thought he was going to do, kind of like the banks did a call on their stock puts in the early depressions. I thought that, the student loan companies were going to do a call on their student loans. It wasn't going to be a call. It was going to be something like, hey, we're doing a student loan reform, or they were going to just kind of like, what was the one that gave all the companies? I'm thinking the one that Bush did, that he called it. I don't want to say Operation Freedom, but anyways, I'm kind of going off subject here. That's kind of why I can't think of the name of it. But it was going to be one of these like masked as giving people more access to student loans, but what it was going to secretly do, and this could still happen, I still think this is going to happen, is it was going to give access to payroll deposit or to payroll, to give the government access to withdraw student loans at a faster rate if they need to. Because like I said earlier, there's tons and tons of debt that is going to be paid for, and one of those is student loans. So let me get into my predictions for the future right now. First of all, I think that in 2019 or possibly 2020, the stock market is gonna be a correction. It's not gonna be a crash. It's not gonna be anything drastic, but it's gonna correct probably towards the 2009 levels, 2008 levels. It's just gonna correct. Keep in mind that big companies, big governments, they want to crash. They love them. When the housing bust happened, who do you think bought the houses? The banks. When the stock market crashes, who do you think buys the stocks? The banks, the big companies, things like that. So they want to crash. It's going to happen in either 2019 or 2020. Right after that happens, so I think we're going to get a new president. And the next president is going to be extremely liberal. I'm talking Oprah liberal. It may be Oprah, who knows? She's going to be giving out free cars. You get a car, you get a car. It's going to be after the big domino drops. So I really don't think Trump's going to hold it together for a re-election. It's like I said, it's going to be similar how Roosevelt got replaced Hoover, and then we're going to be a new deal that's going to be everybody gets a free car. There may be some government projects, who knows, but that's going to happen in either the next election or the one right after. It's going to be right after the big domino falls, and what I mean by big domino is after the big economic meltdown, crash, whatever it's going to be. The next prediction I have in the next 5 to 10 years is we're going to have healthcare reform. And what I mean by healthcare reform, it's not going to be Affordable Care Act. What it's going to be is it's going to be set dollar amounts that doctors can charge per procedure. Similar to what happened to pre-Nazi Germany, where there was set dollar amounts for what you could charge for eggs, for all the products, what's going to be on healthcare. They're good. Like I said, it's not going to be a single payer system because that's un-American, but it is going to be a socialist limit on what doctors can charge. So what it's going to mean is some doctors are going to choose to go private, cash only, which is fine. They have the option to do that because this is still America. But there's also going to be a bigger influx of. They're going to try to put a cap on insurance spending, like they did on insurance profits. If you don't know about that, it's not the video to learn about this. But the next thing that's going to happen is Social Security is going away in the next 10 to 20 years. It will now be independent security. So instead of having this big pool that people put money into, it's you, Social Security, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 9, I guess. You have this amount of money allotted to you. Very similar to kind of how Social Security works. I know if you're a perfectionist on numbers, you're kind of like, well, I kind of already have that now. It's just going to be more defined. It's going to be more limited. It's basically a way to for the government to have tighter controls on us like they always want to do. So now I'm going to get into the 2 things you need to do today. So first of all, you need to find either a side job, a side hustle, or a side business, whatever it is. Now you may be thinking, Gasper, I'm comfortable, I'm fine, I don't need any extra money. You need to get uncomfortable. You need to do something today to help limit the restriction that's going to happen to you when some of these things happen. Now, a side job could be anything from picking up, extra shifts at work, or for myself, I've waited tables on the weekends. I mean, just something to help bring in extra income for yourself. You're going to want to have a surplus. Living paycheck to paycheck is not going to be, it's just not very good. And I've done it, I've been there before, and it's horrible, it sucks. Next thing you're going to do is a side hustle. It could be Uber, it could be network marketing, it could be some other just, and what I mean by the difference between a side job, the side job is usually more predictable. It could be a $10, $20, $15 an hour job, but it does not going to have a lot of fluctuation. Side hustle, there is going to be some risk. You could make $0, you could make very little dollars, but you could also have a bigger reward too. But I think the biggest thing that most people do is a side business. Now, it could be a consulting job. For instance, if you have a specialized skill, you can help teach other people how to do it and start a business doing it. Or if you're a street sweeper, you could start a street sweeping business, whatever it may be, whatever side business. I think this is where we need to have more people spend their time. And I'm not one of those people that thinks every person should be an entrepreneur. I mean, that'd be silly. I mean, that'd be, imagine going to a restaurant and, you know, it's just one guy working there. It probably wouldn't be very good service, may not be very good food. So we're still gonna need businesses, but start a side business, whatever it is. If you're a teacher, maybe start a tutoring company on the side, whatever it is. The next thing I think you need to do is take your money out of the stock market casino. And what I mean by that is, and obviously I haven't put a disclaimer, I sell index universal life, but what an index universal life policy does, it allows you to capitalize on the stock market gains without the risk. And like I said, I mean, obviously it's very easy to conveniently sell the thing that I'm telling you to do, but I think it's going to be very crucial. What that allows you to do, let's say you have $100,000 in the stock market right now. If the stock market drops by 25%, you have $75,000. If it drops by 50%, you have $50,000. Keep in mind that it's going to have to go up, you know, 8, 5, 10, whatever percentage it's going to have to be for you just to redeem your money. So it's going to be twice the amount. So if it goes up, you know, basically if there's a 50% drop, it's going to have to go up by 100% for you to get your money back. So that's why I do recommend putting it in an IUL. Now what that means is you're putting it into a whole life policy. There is going to be a cost of insurance. So you want to keep that cost of insurance as small as possible. So I wouldn't go out and get a $10 million life insurance policy. Maybe getting like a $100,000 life insurance policy and putting, you know, X amount of money into. I mean, there's other things to worry about, but that's what we can do. I can help you schedule a consultation, and we can see what's going to be in your best interest. Like I said, this is not a blanket statement. It doesn't mean go drop what you're doing and go sell all your stuff and buy an IUL. That's not what I'm saying at all. But we can do a comprehensive analysis to see if this is the right situation for you. So I will leave a link if you do want to schedule to consult with somebody about that in the thing, then I will still leave a link for you to download the free PDF by Robert Dalia. So I appreciate your time. If you enjoyed this video, hit like. If you like, also subscribe. I do have other videos talk about insurance, the benefits, the risks, all the other stuff. So thanks for your time. All right, bye.